We are here, and have been for thousands of years. And despite everything, we continue determined and strong, standing firm. You can pretend you aren't bothered, that you aren't looking. But we're here, fighting for a long time. And now, more than ever, fighting against the clock. If there's any diversity left in the forest, it's thanks to us. If there's rainfall in the city or the countryside, it's also thanks to us. If medicine has somewhere to look for new cures, it's because we're here. But we can't go on being ignored, spending our lives being pushed out of the way. That's why we're going to keep on resisting, determined, standing firm, because we are the forest. And the forest is us.
E a floresta somos nós.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Instituto for sharing this powerful video with us. This is a panel created in collaboration with Rio Ethical Fashion, Forum on Sustainable Fashion in Brazil, and we are very happy and honored to partner with Fashinnovation. So thank you, Marcelo and Jordana, for the invitation to be here. It's a pleasure to be talking and learning from all of you, so many inspiring minds in this panel. We all depend on the Amazon rainforest. It is home to approximately 10% of the world's biodiversity, 15% of its fresh water, and helps control the planet's atmospheric carbon levels. It is also home to more than 24 million people in Brazil, including hundreds of thousands of indigenous peoples belonging to 180 different groups. However, over the last 40 years, the Brazilian Amazon has lost almost 20% of its rainforest, an area about the size of California, to get an idea. And we lost this area to illegal logging, soy plantations, cattle ranching, and artisanal mining. In April this year, we had the biggest deforestation rate of the past 10 years, 171% higher than in April last year. If we reach a deforestation rate of 40%, the forest will start a savanization process and will no longer be able to sustain its current ecosystemic services. The Amazon is under threat, and we must act now. So the question I bring here today is how fashion can and should contribute to maintaining the Amazon rainforest alive. What's the role of the fashion and cosmetic sectors in engaging and empowering local communities to protect and regenerate the Amazon rainforest? So Bia, my first question goes to you. You've been working in the Amazon to create innovative economic alternatives for rainforest communities for over 30 years now, and you have seen a lot of change over this period. What's the most striking change that you've seen, and what role should the fashion industry have in protecting the Amazon rainforest?
So, good morning. Here is morning. Good morning, everyone. This is a beautiful day. This is the World Environmental Day with a beautiful full moon in the sky. So, nature in all its power. Let's take advantage of this. And in 30 years working in the Amazon, I will read to keep my time. And in 30 years working in the Amazon, I have seen the forces of destruction being far more efficient than our creative forces. Each year, this gets worse. As Carol told, this last month, deforestation increased 120%. Last year, Amazonia lost around 1 billion trees. The manner our society is organized is putting the forest in risk, is putting our wonderful planet in risk. We should work to revert this trend. To change this reality, we need to identify what links our lifestyles to devastation in Amazonia, and what each one of us as individuals and companies can do to modify this. I'm living here, but I'm not from here. I was born in Rio de Janeiro. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes. I was born in Rio de Janeiro, the wonderful city where I have my family and beloved friends. When I came, I did a choice. And I think for our society now, it is time to make our choices, new choices. How can we change ourselves and our mindset in order to save this incredible planet? Multiple are the opportunities to undertake in the forests, and the fashion industry can do much. There is a lot of richness in the forests: fibers, resins, dyes, essential oils, culture, images, music, handcrafts, inspiration, spirituality, and nature power. With its high added value products, fashion can create opportunities to make this richness truly generate benefits for peoples and communities that inhabit the forests. But working in the forest demands time and open mind to listen and to learn from these peoples. Enterprises in the forest must generate local empowerment, better quality of life, and respect for people's knowledge and rights. The logic of cost minimization and profit maximization does not work to create sustainable models in the forests. I think we should be conscious that Amazonia is not the fashion last trend. Amazonia is not a tag to put in our bags or sneakers. It's not a slogan to stamp our t-shirts, nor is it a merchandise. The Amazon is an enormous living being, living system, inhabited by uncountable beings and people that must be heard and respected. Something must be done now, because the smoke of the first forest fires can be already felt here. So that's it. Black Lives Matter. Rainforest people's lives matter, and Amazonia is to love. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Via. This was very strong and definitely to the point. Thank you. And when we think about how fashion can do its part for the Amazon, ethical partnerships between indigenous communities and brands comes to mind, of course. So Taciana, Farm has established a successful long-term relationship with the Iawanawa indigenous community. Could you please tell us about how this partnership began and what attracted you the most? What were the main challenges and successes of this whole process?
Yes, thank you. Well, to start speaking about this project, I want to show a 1-minute video on it so we can bring some inspiration from where it comes from and hear a little bit of their voices through a very nice chant.
not sure. Is the video on? I'm not sure if it's working.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So this is a little piece we did to introduce this collection. The collection's name is The Heart is the North. And it was our collection when we celebrated our 20 years of the brand. Farm Rio was born in Rio de Janeiro, and we just opened our first store in New York last year. And The Heart is the North was very special to us because it was our way going forward for the next 20 years. And as we looked forward, we knew that the only way forward was to follow our hearts. And when we came up with the sentence, the heart is the north, it is our guide, it's our guiding star. We also looked at the north of the country. And for the first time, we did a collection based on an entire region, which is our north, from Belém do Pará to Acre, which is where the Yawanawas are. And we simply fell in love with their arts. I asked a friend who was already working with indigenous people in the Amazon to bring into farm some work, because it was impossible to talk about the forest and not do something with them. And we simply fell in love with the Yawanawa art. And she introduced us to Bia, which is here. And I thank her so much for this, because she's our fairy godmother on this project. And the first thing that comes to my mind when I tell this story is Bia's voice saying, okay, you guys chose them, you love their art, but that's not enough. They have to choose you. So it's all about building trust, and it's all about understanding that no one is better. We're simply all creatives, innovators from our different worlds, and we want to create beautiful things together, and things that create like true impact for these communities. And so Bia was like, you're not going to the forest, you're inviting them to your home first, and you're going to open your doors and you're going to have a conversation, you're going to sit and have some coffee, and you'll talk about your dream, and you have to listen to their dream, and these dreams, they need to come together. So it is, I love this project so much, because it's a true dream come true for us in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, to be able to make such beautiful things with ethics and aesthetics. Because at Farm, we're aesthets, we love everything that is beautiful. And to the Yawanawas, beauty is well-being, it's happiness, it's spiritual, and everything they do is beautiful, because beauty drives them. And when we came together and saw each other as creators, and creators that could tell the Yawanawa story to Brazil and to the world, that made a lot of sense. And one of the beautiful things I love about this project is that it's all about women's empowerment. So when we sat to have coffee, and they were like, "Oh, you're all women," and we're like, "Yes, you're all women." And so let's join our hands, you know, let's do what we love, which is be creative and create art. And so to me, this story is really about the power of beauty and making beautiful things with aesthetics, with cultural power, economic power, and empowerment. So my time is up, but that's a little bit of the story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tassi. It's really inspiring to see such a successful story of farming the Iawanawas. Thank you for sharing. And of course, not all companies who seek to partner with local communities act ethically. So it's important to monitor these partnership activities and to have accountability, and so that the consumer also knows what's going on behind the scenes, right? So Jeferson, Origens Brazil connects producers, companies, and consumers and aims to change the conventional way of doing business with social biodiversity products by encouraging more ethical and transparent business. And last year, you won the UN Sustainable Food and Agriculture International Innovation Award. Congratulations for that. So I would like to know more about Origens Innovation. How do you operate and how do you give visibility to rainforest communities?
Thank you, Carol. Hello, everybody. First, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to talk about Origens Brazil Network. In this world crisis, it's important to share innovation and new perspectives about Amazon development, the kind of development Amazon communities want. We should escape from models that they were obligated to follow by governmental initiatives or private interests in the region. So it's important to highlight that right in this moment, thousands of indigenous and local communities are under attack of gold miners, loggers, cattle ranchers, and land grabbers. Deforestation increased 60% compared to the same period last year. The Yanomami people, members of the Origens Brazil Network, have just launched a national international campaign denouncing the invasion of more than 20,000 gold miners in the Yanomami indigenous land, which could result in the death of thousands of people due to the contamination by COVID-19. These communities are isolated, and their right to isolation is being disrespected. Origens Brazil Network goes right in the opposite direction. So the forest product supply chains are long and complex chains. The result is that normally enterprises are not capable to guarantee traceability and the origin of forest products. So with that, the risk for enterprise to be involved with illegal activities, people exploitation, and unsustainable practices is enormous. So the innovation of Origens Brazil lies in the ability to promote and structure networks of actors who collaborate locally, territorially, and nationally to promote fair, ethical, and long-term relationships between companies and communities. The Origens Brazil initiative premises are that, first, local communities are the holders of the knowledge about forest management. That knowledge protects and generates forests. So the products commercialized into the partnerships come from this relationship of those people with the forests. So like they said in the opening video, we are the forests, and they really are. So we believe that by promoting and valuing their products, we are valuing their knowledge about biodiversity, and in the long term, we are promoting forest conservation and forest people well-living. Second, local and territorial social networks favor the promotion of communities' well-living and market connection with a proper balance of forces. So the pre-existing trust relationship in the territories is a fundamental element for Origens Brazil function and guarantees. Our differentiation lies in the ability to promote the social network to guarantee traceability, the origin from protected areas, transparent and compliance, so demanded by companies, market, and society. Third, the use of information technology strengthens networks to guarantee market requirements, traceability, origin, impact monitoring. All information relates to the functioning of the chains is organized and standardized in a common management platform, strengthening the confidence of information. For a consumer, they can scan a QR code in the products and have access to production, producers, stories, territories, enterprises, and all commercialization monitoring data. Fourth, Origins Brazil's active incidents on the market raise awareness and engage actors in structuring transparency and long-term value chains. When a company seeks to establish a direct partnership with the communities, it can occupy obligations greater than that the purchasing good. The relationship easily goes to the business as usual paradigm, added to a communitarian independence of the relationship. Origins Brazil, on the other hand, promotes the company connection with the network of actors who are already engaged in the territorial management and engaged in the promotion of community well-living. These actors, such as ISA, for example, play a key role in translating the local conditions in which the value chain works for companies, and at the same time, translates the company's operation process to the communities. So we work as a translator of understanding of the world. So this favors the creation of bridges between chains links that were historically distant by the enormous numbers of middlemen and by this geographical distance that have from Amazon to other places. So in the fashion market, enterprises such as Tucum, Bossa Park, Feira Rosenbaum, Benglo, and Osklin are members that buys handcrafts and rubber. In the cosmetics, enterprises such as Beraca, Firmenich, Atina, and Lush are members that buys Copaiba oil, Babaçu powder, and tonka beans directly from the communities. So basically, market alone is not going to solve deforestation and forestry community rights issues, but it can certainly give a good hand to change forest economy paradigm and people understand about forest communities and their contribution to society. So join us, give us this hand, change the fashion industry paradigm, be part of Origins Brazil network as well. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Jefferson. Thank you so much. Yes, I would like to invite all of you who are watching us today to read more about Origins Brazil initiatives on their website. They're doing great work. And if you are a consumer, you can learn more about where your products come from. And if you are a company and want to work in the Amazon with communities, you can also reach out to Origins Network Brazil. Nina, Instituto, together with the Brazilian brand Osklin, has worked for several years in the Amazon and has developed many initiatives in the region. Recently, Osklin also became a member of Origins Brazil Network. Could you talk more about these initiatives?
Sure. Well, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for giving the opportunity to talk about our work in the World Environment Day. It means a lot for us. Well, Instituto was founded by Oscar Metzavar, who is a UNESCO ambassador and also the creative director of Osklin. We are a civil society organization, and our mission is to connect and gather knowledge and practice from different areas such as scientific and academic institutions, NGO, private sector, and supranational institutions in order to promote a more sustainable human development. We develop projects in Brazil and abroad with UNESCO and Italian Ministry of Environment, Rio Ethical Fashion Initiative, WWF, ISA, among other institutions that have missions and purpose aligned with ours. For the past 20 years, we have been acting as Osklin in-house partner for sustainability, helping to implement projects and initiatives to enhance the brand's sustainable culture. Together, we act from the mapping and developing of more sustainable raw materials, and which we call Fabric, this project, to the building of partnerships with community groups, NGOs, and native peoples, always highlighting the importance of valuing, respecting, and listening to the voice of these peoples who hold an ancestral knowledge that needs to be shared. Example of how we deal With these partnerships is our relationship with the Ashininka, which started a decade ago. When we met and were fascinated with this, about the wisdom of these indigenous people who lives in the border between Peru and Acre, Peru and Brazil, sorry. Our role was not just to connect Osclan and the tribe, but so that only a commercial collection would emerge from there. For us in Osclan, we are dealing with partners more than suppliers. In addition to the collection inspired by Actionista culture, the partnership made possible to the renovation of the school in the Abreu-Nature village, the purchase of the renovation of the land to create the craft store in the biggest city close by, which is called Cruzeiro do Sul, and the expansion of the Rainforests Center, which is a center dedicated to share the knowledge about the Ashininka holds about the forest. The relationship we mediate and help to build go beyond the commercial aspect, even though the Ashininka collection itself happened only once, the relationship still goes on. Since the beginning of the partnership, we have made it possible for the Ashininka leaders to go to COP20 in Lima and to COP21 in Paris. We helped to make the Ashininka photography course possible at the request of them, because they wanted to register by the culture with their own eyes. They wanted to know how to photograph. So this workshop photography was voluntarily conducted by one of Austin Design for 3 years. And now they have all the equipment and so on to register their own culture. And also we from the Institute, together with Oscar, we have been helping the bioeconomy of the forest by stimulating the use of materials originated from sustainable management, like the pirarucu fish skin. This material used to be discarded because the fish was captured only for feed purpose. And now it is used with fashion industry. It helps to increase the income of the local people in the Amazon up to 30%, and cause zero deforestation. And I must say that Osclan was the world pioneer. Nowadays, 48% of Osclan leather accessories are made with pirarucu fish skin. Well, even though we have been present with projects in the Amazon for many and many years, and as Carolina just mentioned, including some of them in articulation with ISA, Instituto Socioambiental, it was only recently that we formalized with our partnership with Origens Brasil, which, as Jeferson said, are aligned with us in terms of forest and its people preservation through business that help to keep the forest standing and preserve its biodiversity. Osclan is using natural rubber, which is the traceability provided by Origens Brasil. This is very important for us also, and also for the consumers, because by the QR code, they will know the origins, as the name of the project says, of the material they are using. Partnerships like the one we established between Osclan and Origens Brasil are, in my opinion, essential for us to maximize the positive impacts of the fashion industry, which has an enormous potential to cause effective changes, and furthermore, to encourage other sectors to continue seeking more sustainable measure on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you. Yeah, these are great examples of how fashion can actually be part of the solution. My question goes now to Andrea. Andrea, Natura is a global cosmetics company that depends on the standing forest to succeed. How does biotechnology foster economic development in local communities and help preserve the forest? I know you have several interesting examples from the work you've been doing. So I would like to hear more about it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. It really is a pleasure to be here and to actually be connecting to the fashion world, because I do think the collaboration between many industries can actually amplify the impact of whatever we want to do to preserve the forest. So thank you very much for the invitation. So yes, I do work at Natura, and maybe many people might not know Natura outside of Brazil, although we are present also in the US market. But it was this company founded 50 years ago in Brazil. And it's currently part of a larger group called Natura & Co., which comprises other iconic brands that maybe other people know better, such as Avon, The Body Shop, and Aesop. And together, we really want to generate positive social, environmental, and economic impact by thinking about business and the way we live in a different way. So we've been in the Amazon for a while now. This dream, I guess, actually started about over 20 years ago, when we started thinking about how we could actually I guess, give light or actually value the biodiversity that was present in the Amazon through a business model that was positive and that could generate positive results for everyone. So in the year 2000, we launched our Echoes brand, and we started our relationships with the local communities, really based on this model that generates and shares beauty and benefits for everyone involved. That was the intention and the vision at the time. And really, there were always three pillars that were always present in this thinking: was of the fair trade, the use of technology to develop high-tech products that leveraged the bioactive ingredients, and that could, in that connection of technology and the bioactive properties, really create products that had unique benefits. And then the third pillar was to establish long-standing community relationships based on trust in a way that we could all thrive together. And at the same time be able to preserve the environment by creating alternative sources of income for the communities that were there. The result of this is that over the last 10 years, we've managed to generate over 1.8 billion reais in the region, which is roughly $350 million, more or less, depending on the exchange rate of the day. We have developed 28 bioactive ingredients that we use in our portfolio: ucuba, patawa, andiroba, castanha, buriti, and many others that we're still studying and that should be coming in our innovation pipeline. We have ties with 33 local communities, which actually represents more than 5,000 families, or roughly 20,000 people connected to this network, and creating sustainable harvesting protocols that actually generate superior income as well as protecting the environment. And the result of this 20-year journey is that we have helped to preserve 1.8 million hectares of forest, which is maybe minuscule if you think of the size of the Amazon, but it is this half of Holland in terms of size. It's not enough because, the Amazon is so big and no one individually is going to be able to change the scenario there, but it is something that we are very proud of. We have used external certifications to also make sure that, we were using the best processes and technologies and techniques to actually, social techniques to engage with, with the communities there. So we have been certified by Union for Ethical Biotrade, and we're actually currently under conversations with Origens as well. But we do have the Union for Ethical Biotrade certification, and we were one of 2 companies who got their maximum seal in the year of 2018. And I think just to materialize this in one example, I think one beautiful example we have of how we make this, chain of life happen is our experience with ucuba, which is one of the ingredients that we use. So ucuba means butter tree in this extinct language called Tupi. And when we started studying the traditional heritage and the knowledge there, we started investigating, and we learned that actually the ukuba seed, it yields a balm that has an amazing hydrating property that actually helps stimulate natural collagen production in the skin. And it really works deeply to repair and nourish the skin. So we identified this, created this amazing product. And then we started developing with the local communities that in the past were basically knocking down the trees and transforming this into broomsticks because it was the way that they could do it. And the ukubeira, the ukuba tree, was actually on the verge of becoming extinct. So when we started to manufacture these cosmetics with the ukuba butter, we began developing the sustainable harvesting model that actually leaves more than 33% of the harvest every time to make sure that that harvest has space to thrive again the next year. And we created a possibility for the income that they were having from selling the ukuba to us be over 3 times the income that they had. And it's a lifetime value income, because when you can sell the tree and make the broomstick, and you're only going to be able to earn once, but if you're continuously harvesting this, you have lifetime value until the tree naturally dies. So this is one of the stories that we're so proud of, and I think it brings to life what we believe in terms of the model that can be developed collectively. So just to close, I think it is about a dream. Taciana talked about the dream. and I think it is about this dream, because no one is going to be able to do this alone. We all need to, just join hands with institutions, with the government, with, civil society, with companies, with respect. For the people that are there, for the knowledge that is there, without arrogance, without thinking that we know better, because we don't. And we should just be a pathway to actually give voice to the people that are there, so that we can, make that region thrive and live forever, so that we can all live forever. And so that we have business models based on the protection and generation of life, and not the other way around. So I think we need to collectively dream. What is this dream that we want to have of the Amazon standing, and how can we join hands to make that happen? So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Oh, it's very important to see a major company like Natura doing the work you are doing in the region, and thank you for so many inspiring words. And Felipe, let's talk about regenerative agroforestry. So regenerative agroforestry has a large potential to regenerate the Amazonian rainforest. And maybe you could explain us what agroforestry is and how this technique could contribute for the fashion industry to protect the forest.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carol, Yami, and Lili for the invitation and the Fashinnovation. This is great to be here today and to be with all of you. And it's really inspiring stories. I see a lot of relation of what we do as well. So we'll get back to that another time. But it's, so basically, my name is Felipe. I am from Brazil. I have been living in Holland for the past 5 years. That's where Renature was born. We're both a foundation and also a company. And the reason Renature was born, and also what is agroforestry, it comes from my journey working in nature inclusive agriculture in the countryside of São Paulo, in Limeira, which we were working with citrus. And I was always passionate about agriculture, but also about nature. So I decided to, of course, go to the Amazon. I was to explore the richness of the rainforest. And I spent some time with indigenous communities close to Rondônia region. And when I left the Amazon and I saw in the borders this massive deforestation for cattle ranching, soybean, and logging industries, I was terrified by the way we're managing the forest resources. And I started asking myself, is there any other way we can actually produce these major commodities industries need in a regenerative way? And that was in my head a lot. And then when I came back home, I was basically searching for everything I could in terms of knowledge and science in regards to sustainable agriculture. And that's how I got immersed in this field mission, visiting agroforestry systems and regenerative agriculture systems that inspired me a lot to see that this should be mainstream. This must be mainstream. And that's the reason I went to Holland to get connected to corporates and impact investors, to inspire them to show that the Amazon has a lot of potential and it needs to be regenerated. And the first project that we did, it was with Farm, with Beto Bina. We did together in Pará, in Santa Bárbara, a project with natural fibers and using also cotton as the major cash crop. So there's 32 communities living in the Santa Bárbara state, in the Pará state, where we are doing an agroforestry consortiating multiple natural fibers. And then we have the colored cotton, we have juta, we have malva, we have banana, pineapple. I'll put a picture in the back of me at the moment now, so you guys can see a little bit. So this is how it looks like. Well, in the moment we're planting, and there's all the local communities planting with us, which was great. So there's a lot of women involved, and we were really passionate about to see their contribution to the design process. So it's not only us saying, hey, what's best to plant here? So all these communities, they were actually working with small scale plantation of cassava, and they were deforesting the borders of the Amazon for making these fabrics of tapioca for tapioca purpose. And basically what we did is we integrated this agroforestry system to ensure food security for the families, because they used to not eat from their own land. So they would go to buy industrialized food, and their children, they see their parents getting sick and they're not motivated to keep farming. And then this agroforestry builds this kind of purpose for next generation of farmers in this region. And then the second component is really based on the economic resilience. So the cotton is the generation of income in this design. And then the third and last is the self-sufficiency in inputs, because there's no agrochemicals and there's also no organic inputs. We use tree species and also grasses that it can replace this external inputs cost that most farmers has. And this is really powerful. And that's what we aim at doing in the borders of the Amazon. As Renature, we're connecting off-takers, buyers from Europe, that can pay an extra added value price for products that come from the preservation of the forest in the Amazon. So now we're not only doing for fashion with cotton, but also doing with cocoa and coffee and other crops that has a added price in the market. So yeah, this is in a nutshell what we're doing in the Amazon, and it's really exciting to see these communities, making a living and also exchanging knowledge in regards to regenerative agroforestry. And our goal is to really make it mainstream. And we invite all of you to be part of this Change Makers program we organize, which you go to the field and get your hands dirty in the soil and learn about these techniques together with the local communities. And we did that in December last year. And we invite you all to be part. Whoever is interested, renature.co, and let's join us to regenerate the Amazon. Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe. Thank you. It's very enlightening to understand how textile fibers and other crops can regenerate the forest. Thank you. Well, as we discussed on this panel, there is plenty fashion can do to make a tangible difference and to help protect the Amazon rainforest and its peoples. So if you as a company or individual want to donate to start helping now, especially as indigenous communities are being greatly affected by COVID-19 pandemic. So there are several serious organizations that you can support. Please check the Rio Ethical Fashion Instagram account, where we named a few of them with links if you want to donate, and if you can donate, it will be very helpful. I would like now end this panel with a video shared by Bia, thank you Bia, where an important Brazilian indigenous leader, Ailton Krenak, recounts part of a conversation he had with Yanomami indigenous leader Davi Kopenawa, and this was during the event Ciclo Selvagem. So if the Fashinnovation team could press play.
Eu me encontrei com o Davi em 85, pela primeira vez, e ele me perguntou, fui visitar ele lá na floresta, ele me perguntou, é verdade que os brancos são muitos? Aí eu fiquei pensando como que eu ia responder essa pergunta do meu amigo, porque eu sei que para os Yanomami, muito é tudo que é mais do que 7, 8, 10. Muito. As coisas que pode se contar com os dedos da mão já são muito. Eu falei, eu não posso enganar ele de que os humanos sejam só o número dos dedos, das mãos, algumas coisas assim. Mas eu também não queria apavorar ele. Então, eu disse, eu não posso deixar ele enganado sobre isso. Eu disse, olha, os brancos são tanto quanto as estrelas do céu, a areia das praias, dos igarapé, dos rios. Eles são tantos assim. Ele ficou muito assustado. Depois ele me perguntou, e o que eles comem? Aí eu disse, olha, eles comem de tudo. Eles comem árvores, eles comem pedra, eles comem rios, eles comem tudo, tudo. Essa floresta sua toda, eles comem. Ele ficou mais apavorado ainda. E me perguntou, e onde eles cagam? Eu disse, eles cagam no mundo.